Hello, sir. Welcome to the today.
What's up, guys? Doing good, doing good. How's everybody?
We are doing absolutely awesome. My first match that I got to see from you was your last match at WDWA where you faced the 7-foot tall Jack Massacre. Can you tell us about what transpired during that match? There was a ref bump, and what actually transpired during that match?
Well, honestly, the ref bump, I got out of the way. The ref didn't. I'm minding my own business in the ring. The referee's positioning is none of my business. So the fact that they collided, I obviously had nothing to do with that. I would say the chain of action led to the point where he was able to hit a huge choke bomb on me, which I believe I was a good, he's 7 foot, then his arms was fully extended. So I would say a good 9-10 foot in the air. And he just drilled me into the ring. And, if he would have not knocked the referee before, he might have gotten me for the 3 count. But, also when it comes to ring awareness and comes to success in the sport, yes, a sport of professional wrestling, I was obviously aware that the referee is not conscious or not able to make a count. So, at this point, when you got a 7-foot man who's almost 400 pounds, pinning, every kick out is a tremendous effort. It takes a tremendous amount of effort. It takes a lot out of your stamina. So at that point, obviously he got my shoulders on the mat for more than 3 seconds. But I was also aware that the referee is not able to make the count, or hoping, because some seconds before that, obviously she was knocked, and then whatever happened. And I came out on top. I did hurt my leg during the match as I came off the top rope and hit him with the sword of Attila as I landed. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I didn't really feel any pain when it happened. I heard a pop in my knee, the back of my knee. I never had an injury other than my ankle, and that was outside of pro wrestling. So I didn't know what happened. And right after that, I picked him up and lifted him up over my head and body slammed him and dropped the big leg and won the match without a problem. The next morning I woke up and I could not bend my left leg, and I was in tremendous pain, and it resulted in a cancellation of a match that I was supposed to have in Temple, PA for Outbreak Wrestling against Killian McMurphy. Or Murphy. And I'm horrible with names. I'm terrible. Shamrock Shooter. Anyway, great competitor. And I'm very disappointed that I wasn't able to make that match. But I got many responsibilities in and outside of wrestling, and obviously the number one priority is that I'm the world heavyweight champion in the WDWA promotion, and that is at least the one. My first priority is always that title, always to defend that title, because if I can't defend it because of injury or any other reason, I will give up the title. Because if you're a champion, you should defend it every time that the company runs. And there was one occasion where I had a prior commitment to the same date in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for a different show. And guess what I did? I took the belt and I defended there too. So even though I wasn't in Berkeley Springs, the title was still defended, as a real world heavyweight championship should be everywhere that I go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hopefully your leg gets better. I have a couple more questions, and I'll kick it to my co-host Renee, because I'm sure he has a bunch of questions. So you were trained by quite a few people: Gabriel Angel Fire, Tommy N, and DJ Hyde. What was it like being trained by those gentlemen?
Oh man, how many hours do we have on this podcast? Long story short, I owe the beginning and therefore everything of my career to Gabriel Angel Fire. And there was actually a French wrestler there too called Jan Colby, who lived in Budapest at the time. Gabriel Angel Fire is from the Netherlands, and he also a very well-traveled wrestler in Europe, multiple championship, including I think he's at least one time Hungarian Championship Wrestling champion too. But what happened is when we started wrestling in Hungary, there was no promotions, there was no places to go, no schools to train. People didn't know anything about professional wrestling, other than we know an actor whose name is Hulk Hogan, and everybody says that he's a wrestler. We knew Hulk Hogan is an actor, not a wrestler. In like cheesy, cheap movies, that's all we knew. And anyways, when we started, we had a couple of DVDs that we went off of to learn rolls and bumps. We had no ring. I learned all my bumps on Olympic wrestling mat. Like we went in after the Olympic wrestling. So, there was no ring. It was stable. And all the bumps, the back bump, the flip bump, the front bump, everything. And twice a week, it was at least over a year that we were training without a ring. And that's where actually I think Gabe came in. We did have the ring and we did have a seminar. Most of the lessons and the trainings were still on the wrestling mat, on the classic wrestling. And he taught us the fundamentals of the business, the psychology, in-ring awareness, footwork, from the basic to advanced chain wrestling or hold to hold, or catch a sketch can, as they call it in England. And so really he kept coming back, and instead of a bunch of backyarders, he saw the passion in us. He saw how much we really want this, and that he took us under his wings, basically. Just because he saw a great, expecting nothing in return, really. But ever since that day, the two companies, Pro Wrestling Holland and Hungarian Championship Wrestling, has a great relationship. Wrestlers in and out from Hungary to Netherlands, and from Netherlands to Hungary, and just the ball kept rolling, and that's how Tommy End, who's Aleister Black in WWE now, came along. He's also from the Netherlands, and he was in a tag team with Michael Dante as the Sumerian Death Squad. Well-traveled from Europe to Japan, everywhere. And Gabe had a good relationship with him, and brought him in, and they started to do seminars for us, and they started to wrestle for us. And for the first, the big thing was that we only could wrestle each other. One Hungarian wrestles another Hungarian. We didn't have opportunity to wrestle someone who has 10 years of experience, 15 years of experience, that can carry us through a match and can give us an experience that will further our education or knowledge in the ring. So, from Gabe to Tommy, and then in 2013, I moved to America, and I trained at the UWE at the time in Harrisburg, PA. And actually, it was because of my training in Europe, there was a lot of things I could teach them. And also there was a lot of things that they taught me. It was a very, very good time. And after UWE closed its doors, I immediately went down to CCW Dojo Wars on the recommendation of Eddie Smooth. And I introduced myself to DJ. And I just took training and wrestling on Dojo Wars and training in the dojo. At the time, under the wings of DJ Hyde, Drew Gulak, Preacher, Joe Gacy. I wrestled Joe Gacy 3 or 4 times. He whipped my butt all 3 times, I think, and it was all tremendous lessons. And yeah, like that just put my perspective of my career, and with that my career in a brand new level. And I could have never got to the level where I'm at right now without that. So that's basically the, you know, I know I talk a lot, but this is, trust me, this is the short version. There's like so many experiences. So many experiences that got me from that point to where I'm at now. And what I love about wrestling, that these things never end. Like, you can, if you stop learning in wrestling and if you stop investing in yourself, you might as well just retire. Like, don't waste our fucking time. I'm sorry. Don't waste our time.
I agree. I totally agree. That was absolutely fascinating. Renee, why don't you come in here with whatever questions that you have? Because I know you've been chomping at the bit. So.
Well, I have, and you know what? I'm actually really excited because I know you hear my name, and you probably think, "Oh, this guy's French, right? His name's Rene," because I know you've also wrestled in France and in Poland. But no, I'm actually a Mexican dude, and yes, I love donuts and tacos. So let's just get that out of the way, okay? All right. Well, the thing that I wanted to know, and I don't know what your family background is specifically, but I know me being a person who immigrated to the United States and then getting involved in pro wrestling, sometimes my family had a hard time understanding. And it's kind of weird because you would think, okay, well, in Mexican culture, there's a lot of like lucha libre wrestling, right? But where I grew up, it wasn't like that. We grew up in a very small town. It wasn't even called a town. It was like a pueblo, very small, very far away from the city. There was none of that stuff. So my family, my parents, my mom, my wife, even, they don't get wrestling. It's just a little weird to them. It's definitely not the traditional path. I'm curious, brother, like when you decided that you wanted to pursue professional wrestling and then your family actually saw you doing it, did things start to change? Or did they always support you from the very beginning? I'm curious to know kind of what your immediate friends and family thought when you first like started pursuing this crazy dream, man, because it's not for everybody, that's for sure.
Well, you know, I think my story is a little bit different because I don't think I've met anyone in the business so far, at least not here in the United States, who got introduced to pro wrestling. And I mean introduced as a viewer, okay? Not someone who wants to do it. I have not seen professional wrestling until I turned like 21, okay?
Oh, wow.
If you would meet the 20-year, I'm 32 now. If you would meet the 20-year-old me, and names like Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan, I would have no idea what you talked about.
All right.
So, you know, like, it's not something that, like, you know, growing up, I'm always, like, just hassling and have my family change the channel to wrestling. There was no wrestling on the TV. So, you know, it was more of an old dream connected with a new one. When I was 16, 17 years old, I saw some things on TV that wanted me to move to the United States. At the time, Hungary was in a economical crisis. You know, I grew up in poverty. You know, and I have nothing against it. I love that I do. You know, I love it, and because you know,
it gives you character. It gives you a lot of character. I'll tell you that much. I can relate to a certain point. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, none of my family knew what it is. I explained my mom is very open-minded. My dad is 20 years older than my mom, so he's much more conservative, old school, and just, you know, he just didn't get it. Like, okay, it's not a competition, but you do get beat up, and then why would you lose? Why would you want to lose? You know,
that's a good question.
For him, it took years to come around and understand what I'm doing, and you know, he actually came when I was back in Hungary in 2017, 18. Oh man, 17. Yeah, 2017. Both of my parents came to the show, And, you know, my dad was impressed. You know, he's not the type of guy who runs around and hugs you and tells you that he loves you. I mean, I know he loves me. We don't have a bad relationship, but he's just not the kind of gushy person. I'm not either. You know, we're not that, you know, if we hang up the phone and we don't say I love you, we don't get offended. Here in America, oh my God, it's the worst crime.
You're not lying. Well, listen, I don't want to disappoint you, but we still got some time left. But when we end this segment, we always end it in a group hug. So somebody should have told you that before you came on. Now it's gonna get weird.
I'm gonna be the heel and back out of that.
Oh gosh, that's so messed up. Well, listen, go ahead.
Anyways, real quick to connect the two things. You know, I always wanted to move to America, but I didn't have too much of an education. I did speak English, but like not like didn't have a college diploma or anything like that, or a trade offer here. So, you know, when wrestling came along, and you know, you obviously learn more and more and start to do it, and you understand that the best opportunity to become a full-time professional is in America. So I was like, yes, finally, like I want to move to America to have more money, you know, and more opportunities. As any immigrant that looks at America, you know, that's why we want to come here.
Yes.
And that opportunity came together with professional wrestling. So that's how to do it. And, you know, my family was supportive, happy, you know, as I said, but no one dropped a tear other than my mom, maybe, when I got on the plane to move here. But yeah, you know, everybody's cool with it, and everybody's happy, and everybody's proud, and you know, life. They lived their life. I lived my life. I'm in touch with most of my family on weekly or daily basis. Thanks for the internet and smartphones. So basically, that's it.
That's cool. And I'm curious, before I go on to my last question and throw it back to Joe, how was it that you were introduced to it? Like, what was that moment? Because I remember my moment. I remember when I first got an opportunity to watch it, and it was a videotape of WrestleMania 2. And I remember like Sergeant Slaughter was so dope. Like I thought, you know, and I was a kid, of course, so it got me real excited. You know, it just reminded me of the cartoons and all the other things that I used to watch. So that was kind of my moment. It was Sergeant Slaughter was the first person I ever saw wrestle, and I just thought it was so cool that there was a military guy that was out there just beating people up, and you know, his big old chin and the hat, and the whole thing had me, man, from the first moment I saw it. What was your moment, man? Was it something on TV? Did somebody slide you a video, or how did that happen?
I think it was I seen bits and pieces, things that I didn't understand, but one of the biggest sports channel that you can access all over Europe, you know, like ESPN here, is Eurosport. And at maybe in 2006, right, 2007, I was 19, 20 years old. And I caught, I think they did like 30, 45-minute bits of TNA at the time that was like just like highlights of matches with commentary in English. And I think I just caught it a couple of times, but I, you know, watched it for a minute or two. I think I remember Rhino goring someone through that entrance hole that used to come up. Like,
yes,
I think that's the only thing I remember. And then later, you know, then a lot of time went by, like a year at least, and I saw on a Hungarian sports channel they put on Bushido. Now Bushido is like a shoot work fight where you start with 15 points with each contender. And if you lay a kick in, that's 1 point off the other guy. So, you know, if you kick the other guy, he gets taken 1 point. When you get to 0, you lose the match. Or you get knocked out, you lose the match. If you submit, you lose the match. And I saw Gary Albright. I saw Kawada doing it. And there were many more Japanese names who were doing it. I can't recall. What's the tall guy? He just got into a wheelchair because he screwed up a sunset. The blonde guy, Takayama. Was in there too. So it was like a hybrid of like MMA and pro wrestling, but they were shooting, okay? And if you suplex someone, it was 3 points, you know, and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
But there was no pinfalls in it. And I thought that was great. Like, it was unbelievable. I did never like boxing. I never really watched too much martial arts or anything, but I liked that one. And then somehow I came across a WWF PC game, like an old PC game, like a 2002 or 2003 PC game. I had no idea what it is. And one of friends recognized Kurt Angle and The Undertaker in it. Like, he knew who they are. And we were just playing that game when the characters made the entrance, they actually cut in the real life Titantron. So
that dope. Like, that's dope.
Yeah, like, wow, I never seen anything like this. And, you know, then I still didn't give too much, just played the game every once in a while. And then Eurosport switched from TNA to WWE. And before they did, the last TNA thing I saw, like, you know, some things like 2006 Bound for Glory came to Eurosport like a year after that, or 2 years after that, when it was for free everywhere, you know?
Right.
Because it was a pay-per-view back then. And I never forget the first full match that I watched, and it blew my mind because I didn't understand what was going on. I kind of knew what was going on, but in my head was like, how do they not die when they do this? You know?
I still say that sometimes today. I think all of us do, man. Like, what you guys is incredible, bro. I seen stuff even here on a local level. I'm like, why are you doing that? That's not okay. And you know, there's still some realism, bro. I'm telling you, stuff like that will really get you in to buy in, even all the way back then.
That's why I call it a sport. That's why I call it a sport. I don't care what anybody says, sport. But the first match I ever saw was a tag team match. It was for the TNA tag titles. It was AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels against LAX with Conan. And it was in a steel cage in the 6-sided ring. And it was just a 20-minute, unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. I can watch it. I can recall the whole thing. And the finish was I think, what do they call it? The cop killer, the crazy driver, on AJ. And it just looked like, I remember me and my buddy watching it, and you know, how do you not get paralyzed? Like, it was so brutal.
Yeah.
Like, that one was so legit. Like we knew that the match ended, even though we didn't know anything about wrestling. The moment that bump happened, we were like, okay, this must be over, or I don't know what these guys are like, have superpowers, you know. So yeah, that was the first match, and the first full pay-per-view I ever saw was the 2009 Royal Rumble, followed by WrestleMania 25, which I watched over and over and over again because I couldn't believe it. And still to this day, my favorite match of all time is Taker and Michaels from that WrestleMania. And I just needed answers. So that was the year 2009 when I started to Google stuff and YouTube stuff and tried to connect with people who was there. And like, I never met anyone, you know, in, you know, let's see, it's like 22 years in Hungary, who ever even talked about professional wrestling. Okay. And I grew up and lived 26 years in a city that holds 2 million people.
Wow.
So,
dude,
you know, I really had to Google it and find people, and, you know, found some people, and we got together, and I said, dude, I want to do this. No one does it in Hungary. We're going to be the first one to do it. And then we did it. And now you can go to HCW Hungary on the YouTube channel. You can go on Vimeo.com. We have pay-per-views. They cost like $6, and it comes with English commentary. And you will own a 3.5-hour show which is, you know, it's amazing. I think it's great. And, you know, full professional production, you know, not backyard, not indie. I mean, 1,200 people. In November, me and DJ Hyde went back to Hungary to participate in what we call our WrestleMania, which is Bloody November, our biggest show of the year. And, you know, we drew 1,200 people in a building that held 1,000. And then we had to turn away another 200 because the building wouldn't let us more people in.
Wow.
Wow.
So that's, you know, from watching in my room, you know, WrestleMania 25, you know, in 10 years, that's how far it went. And obviously in 2013, I left. So I've not taken any credit after that. You know, after 2013, I was out and I said, I'm not going to be, you know, even though I'm a co-founder, and I was heavily involved with everything up to that point, you know, I'm not going to be sitting here in America and tell you how to do the business. And hands down, you know, the guys back there just took it to a new level. And you go through HCW Hungary. You can find them on hcw.hu, English version of the site. You know, you can read, you can watch all the videos. We have a Dojo Wars like show, but it's professionally produced. It's called HCW Underground with weekly episodes online that is completely for free. Even though it's all in Hungarian, but you know, wrestling, in-ring wrestling is international.
Yeah, right.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. And Joe, I want you to jump in and I want all the listeners to know that, you know, this is what we do. This is what we attempt to do for you guys every week. We like to bring on interesting individuals from the pro wrestling world of all walks. And, you know, we're talking to a multi-time champion here, a guy who just continues to reshape pro wrestling around the world in his own way. And, you know, we haven't even had an opportunity to talk to you really about what you do inside the ring. It's almost like we've been building to that. And I know that time is a little limited. And Joe, you want to jump back in here with your last question, but man, just, you got to do me a favor and promise that we have to do a part 2 of this, man, because I know that your work in the ring is something that you've received a lot of acknowledgement for. There's a reason that you have the respect of people like DJ Hyde in this business. And what's crazy is, bro, you're still in your early 30s. Like you got time, you know, so it's crazy to think that in those 10 years, you've accomplished so much when unfortunately, and sometimes it's not anybody's fault, there are people who've been in this business 15 or 20 and have not reached even close to that level of success. So I just love to have an opportunity to talk to you some more down the road. But Joe, why don't you go ahead and jump on in here, man?
This has been a absolutely awesome interview. So you talked about your beginning. We talked about WDWA. Now I want to talk about Pro Wrestling Empire, and you are managed by a guy that is very well known in the area by the name of Andy Weinberg. Can you tell us about what it's like? The winner, Andy Weinberg. Can you tell us about being managed by that gentleman?
Wow, I think it's one of the biggest blessings I had in this business. Not only to be managed by Andy, but you know, outside of the ring, he's as close to me as any of my family members. So, you know, I think we click real well. You know, I owe him the friendship and the mentorship I gained from Nikolai Volkov, who basically raised Andy as one of his sons. And, you know, me and Nikolai connected right away on our first show together. He's from Croatia. I'm from Hungary, neighbor countries. And before that, Croatia was part of the Hungarian kingdom. So, you know, we just, you know, two immigrants from the same part of the world doing the same thing in the ring. Obviously, Nikolai will forever be a legend. And anyone who met him, even for a minute, just the whole day got better. Just to shake his hand, like his positivity and kindness was something that I still haven't encountered since, and I don't think I will. And I miss him tremendously. But you know, that's just one of the things that was a huge benefit in my career, being associated with the winner, Andy Weinberg, and you know, Hollywood's Finest. That's how he came in first, to manage Hollywood's Finest. Hollywood's Finest is no more. and you know, with all the things that we've been through, he realized who's the real worker in the faction. Who's the one who puts professional wrestling first? Who's the one who doesn't answer to the women who wears the pants at the house? Okay, and he went with the real, the only Hungarian hero, the only one, the only man who can wield the sword of Attila, the only man in this faction who was fully committed to professional wrestling. I was fully committed to that faction. I did everything for them. And everybody else got the opportunities to win the titles. Everybody got the opportunities to hold the titles. And those opportunities were created by me and Andy. But somehow, every time I got in line, one of them always skipped the line and got ahead of me. And that ended on a night to remember when professional wrestling returned to Central Pennsylvania. And PW announced that they're going to run again. And their next show will be September 22nd. September 22nd. It's a Sunday here in Harrisburg, PA at the Zembo Shrine, where WWF used to run. You know, Bruno Sammartino used to main event there. A very historic place. So, you know, anyways, me and Andy just got the same vision. We're sitting in the boat, and both of us are rowing in the same direction with full force. And there's not going to be any stopping anytime soon. And not only PWE, but the whole wrestling world from coast to coast, from continent to continent in time will recognize that. I'll guarantee you this right now. This is shoot, okay? I'm not shooting a promo here. This is what's going to happen.
Well, Joe, real quick. Listen, I know that's not a promo. Those are facts, all right? But we're going to give you a chance to cut a promo here in just a second when it comes to the shoot and shout segment. Right, Jonesy?
Absolutely. The shoot and shout segment that we're getting ready to do is your opportunity to let us know, let everybody know what it exactly is irking your mind. It could be professional wrestling. It can be, you know, the ale that's in a bag of potato chips. Are you down to do this segment with us before we let you go?
To say whatever is on my mind?
Yep.
Yes,
we'll play a little music.
Some
Yep. Yeah, we'll play a little.
I've been doing that since 8:30. But yeah, man.
Yeah, and listen, in this one, we just kind of turn up the heat a little bit, and it could be about anything that's kind of like pissing you off right now. So we'll let Jonesy go first, I'll go second, and then you can close it out, and we'll start right after the music in 3, 2, 1. Intern Timmy, hit the music.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everything is, everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify. If someone's head off, you know you make contact. And if you...
All right, I'll go ahead and kick this shoot and shout thing off. My shoot and shout for the week is people that do not know how to drive in the rain. Oh my goodness, you get a little bit of rain going on and people go absolutely nuts. Like, it's not that hard to drive in the rain. Like, you don't have to drive as fast as you would normally do, but you don't have to slow down to a snail's pace. But I'm trying to get somewhere and it's raining and I'm stuck behind somebody going 35 in a 55. It drives me absolutely nuts. That's my shoot and shout.
Okay, well, here's my shoot and shout. And mine is pro wrestling related, believe it or not, Jonesy. Recently, I've come to discover that there are some fans who think it's okay to come across the barrier and try to make themselves part of the show. Listen, dumbass, if you come on the other side of the guardrail, you are gonna get your ass whooped. The evidence has proven that 10 out of 10 wrestlers recommend that you keep your ass on the other side of the rail, because if you don't, bad shit is going to happen to you. So, dummies, take it from your amigos over here at the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. If you want to go home and don't want to end up in the emergency room, keep your hands off the wrestlers, male and female, because things are going to get ugly. And as far as I can tell, some of the talent is starting to enjoy the opportunity to beat your ass. So stay on the side of the guardrail, because I'm not the one who wants blood all over them after some big ass Samoan beats the crap out of you right next to me at a wrestling show. That's my shooting shot, bro. People got no sense and they act like they don't know what's about to happen, guys. They're gonna get murked. And it seems like every time it happens, it just seems to get worse and worse. That's my shooting shot for tonight. There's just a lot of idiots out here don't care about their own safety, and I don't understand it.
So much anger. Did you know that anger leads to the dark side? Unbelievable.
But listen, hey, it's the shooting shot segment, and I'm pissed off. Some of these people act like they got no sense, bro. What do you got for us, champ?
Oh man, I don't even know how to follow that.
Come on, yeah, you got to have something, Laz. Come on, baby.
Listen, man, I have so much. That I think if I would say 2% of it, I would probably end up in jail by tomorrow.
Hey, this is internet radio. You can say what you want.
I know I can say what I want. Honestly, I agree with the drivers in rain. I totally agree with not to jump the fence. If you jump the fucking fence, I'm going to stretch you so hard that you're not going to find the back of your ass for 2 weeks. But I'm not going to beat the guy. Maybe one shot, and I'm going to put him in a hole that, he wishes to be reborn and start his life all over.
I seen you wrestle. I believe it.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, first and foremost, I'm a worker. I'm a professional wrestler. I appreciate the opportunities that the company is giving me in this country. And the next opportunity will be on June 22nd, this Saturday, in the Holy Family Academy in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. I'll go one-on-one with Adam Chandler, who's a big guy like me, hard-hitting, technical guy. I can't wait to get in the ring with him. I can't wait to hit the Sword of Attila, pin his shoulders. 1, 2, 3. PPW, Destiny. I never, ever been pinned in a PPW ring. I made my debut in February. I've been in multiple matches with multiple people in it. I never got pinned. I never submitted. I can't say I won the match, but I never lost the match. Last month ago, I beat Brendan Scott, fair and square, 1, 2, 3. Adam Chandler is the next in line because I'm climbing the ranks and I'm going for the top prize. If you're not in the sport, to be the top, to be on the top of the mountain, to have your name on the marquee, to have your face in the middle of the poster, you should get the hell out of this business. If you're not striving to get that, you're in the wrong business. So anyone who gets in my way in any company, I will step through 1, 2, 3 onto the next one until I'm on the very top, just like I am in WDWA now, just like I was at 5-Star Wrestling, just like I was the top guy in my country. And this is my shoot for tonight.
Preach. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, Joe, I'll let you close it out. All I want to say again, champ, is, bro, we got to have you back on. I think we only scratched the surface of the opportunity that we had to like get to know you a little bit better. So you're always welcome here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I'm proud to welcome you in as the newest member of the Wrestle Talk family. And then, of course, we want you to go ahead and let everybody know how it is that they can keep up with you on social media, man.
Sorry, I missed the last part. Can you say that again?
No problem. I just want to make sure that the members of the Wrestle Talk family can keep up with you after this wonderful interview. So can you tell them how they can find you on social media?
Yes, absolutely. For the most content, I would honestly recommend Instagram. Everything that I post it on Instagram, and then some of it will cross over on Facebook. But my main platform is Instagram, where everyone can find me at Hungarian_hero. But honestly, if you put in Hungarian Hero, you will see my name pop up. Hit the follow. Feel free to message me. I'll do Q&As every once in a while, the little Instagram story Q&As. But on Instagram, at least on the stories, but mainly, I post daily. You can follow all the dates, all my appearances. You can have a good look in my trainings, my workouts. So honestly, at Hungarian_hero is the best way to follow what's going on with me. You can also find me on Facebook as Laszlo Arpad. I do have a Twitter. I rarely use it just because I don't read Twitter at all. I just don't enjoy reading Twitter. It's just not for me that much. And if you YouTube my name, you can find plenty of my in-ring work. I'm honestly, man, in my personal life, I don't even know sometimes what day of the week it is. So I wish I could focus more on building up a nice YouTube channel, because I really like it when workers do that. I think it's great, very good exposure, very easy way to follow them. But that's also one of my priorities in the future, near future, to build up. I do have a YouTube channel, but there's barely anything on it, so I don't even advertise it. But hopefully sometime this year it will start up, and I can have footage up there. Oh, also a little bit to add to my shout.
Yeah, you got it. Go ahead, bro. Yes, bring it.
Let me give a shout to the goddamn indie promoters. I love you. Thank you for giving me opportunities to step in the ring. But I know that all of you record the shows. Please don't hold back the footage, okay? For two reasons. One, of course, to share it with the fans, or to share it with another promoter to get more work. We're trying to work here. Like, some people take it as a hobby. I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to take this to a full-time profession. So please do not hold back footage for that reason. And for the second reason, which to me is even more important, so I can watch my own work. I can see what did I do wrong? What can I get better with? And even at your own promotion that you have me booked, if I can get the footage and I see where can I get better, guess what? You'll get a better product in your own ring. So dear promoters, please do not sit on the goddamn footage. Let the workers have it, please. Thank you.
There you go.
Wait a minute. Wait, we got a drop for that.
Got him. Got him.
Way to go, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise for the champ, the Hungarian hero, our boy Laz. Absolutely wonderful appearance. Jonesy, why don't you go ahead and close this out, man?
Thank you so much for spending time out of your busy schedule to come on to the podcast. Please do not be a stranger. This was an absolutely amazing experience. It was fascinating, and we definitely want to talk to you more. So I will be in contact to get you on sometime again, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Listen, follow these guys, follow me, and hopefully talk to you all soon.
That's
All
right, guys. Again,
I'll see you later.
Yeah, that's at the Hungarian_hero. That's at Hungarian_hero on Instagram. That's where he does his business. Jonesy, that was a great interview, man. Let's go ahead and take a very, very brief break, and we'll be back with about 6 or 7 minutes of the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, the FWWC.
Can't explain all the feelings that you're making me feel. My heart's in overdrive and you're behind the steering wheel. Touching you, touching me, touching you, I even think your love. You make it now. I wanna kiss you every minute, every hour, every day.
Yo, what up? Night Owl. Nightmare Jones. What up, Wrestle Talk fam? Do it for y'all. Check me out. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. Even them haters can't hate us no more. To unlock your door, cause we got some more. Every Wednesday we here, keeping it raw. Night Owl, Nightmare Jones, and all the best guests. Like a double barrel pointed right at your chest. Wrestle Talk Podcast.com. Smashing and killing it like the night of the prom.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. And you know what? I have another little shooting shout for you. Here's my shooting shout. What pisses me off is when people go onto the main page of the FWWC and they don't seem to understand that in the FWWC on the main page, we are supposed to be in character, and they take things personal when they're supposed to be in character, and you don't really mean what you're saying, but they take it personal because they don't have a concept of what being in character means. There you go.
Wait just a minute. I walk back in here after break, and I immediately have to listen to you run your mouth and disrespect another FWWC superstar. And listen, Jonesy, I don't understand it. What are you saying?
I didn't mention any names.
I know you didn't, but we all know what you're talking about. And you know what? And I want that superstar to call in, okay? I want that superstar to show that it's not just about standing on the sidelines and hoping that good things happen. I want that superstar to dial that number, 657-383-1521. Because you know what, Jonesy? I'm sick of you talking trash. You don't respect other people's work. You think that everything you do turns into gold. And guess what? It doesn't. Because it's been about a year or so that you have even been a champion in the FWWC. You've been riding the coattails of El Mata. And now you're picking fights with people who have better things to do. So now that I'm looking down at the board, it looks like said individual will have an opportunity to come on and speak their piece. But because I know how you operate, Nightmare Jones, I'm going to put you on hold and let this individual come on, say their piece, and then you can come on and react, because I know how you are. You're a propaganda La Familia machine. And the moment that this individual comes on, you're going to try to cut them off and not allow them to make their point. So if you are really a true competitor of the FWWC, you've got to agree that it's fair to let that person have their turn without interruptions, and then you get to have your turn. What do you think? Is that fair? Is it fair?
I won't say it. I won't say a thing.
Oh, geez, Louise. If I had $100 right now, I'd be willing to bet that you can't control yourself. Well, that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and throw the dice as we welcome in the number one contender for the FWWC Women's Championship, who will be main eventing the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, the one, the only, Susie Haas.
Hey, how you doing, Night Owl?
Well, I was doing great But the moment the FWWC segment started, Suze, you know, Nightmare Jones had to kind of show his true colors and start with that La Familia nonsense. And all of a sudden, I'm all sorts of upset. But now that you've called in, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I just want to know what's on your mind tonight.
Well, you know, there's a couple of things on my mind, actually. The first thing being, let me address what Mr. Jones had to say. You know, you're right. On the page, we're supposed to be in character. But there's also, if I'm not mistaken, a protocol here where if you're going to start a program with somebody, you talk to that person first. You don't just start the program. You talk to that person and make sure they're down with the program before you begin. That was not afforded to me. And then when I tried to talk to them personally, privately, and explain why I was not down with this program, I was met with, why not? Why won't you do this my way? Why can't we do this in confidence? That's why I took it personal. That is not, I didn't get upset per se. I was upset because I was not afforded a chance to say, yes, I'm cool with this. No, I'm not, before everything began. So before you go blasting me because I took it personal, you have to agree or have to admit your own mistakes and say, hey, you know what? I could have gone about this another way and maybe things wouldn't have gone awry. Maybe I did it the wrong way, and take your own, you know, accept your own responsibility in what went wrong. Bottom line. Okay? That being said,
I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. And I cannot believe that Nightmare Jones has not interrupted yet. It's beyond me that we've had an opportunity to even get this far. What else did you have in mind?
The other thing I had in mind, I am very excited about being, you know, the highlight of Extreme Rules. However, I do want to say that I'm also just a little bit aggravated here because I was given a shot at the TV title. I was told I was a #1 contender, and then that was taken away because it was used to be traded to bring Enchantress over to the red team. Once she was brought over, I was then named #1 contender for that title and told I would have my shot at this Sunday's pay-per-view. Now this Sunday's pay-per-view, I have been removed from the card and put on to the next pay-per-view so that it is a top title. Now, I understand why he did it, but it just seems to me like every time I get to that doorway where I'm about to go out and do my thing to win this title, it's snatched back and pushed back again. I just want some guarantees from our red GM that it's not going to be pushed back again and that this is going to be a top match and there ain't nothing going to stop it the next time. I'm willing to play the game and be a team player. I'm willing to do what he needs, but I just want some guarantees that there ain't going to be, we're going to push it aside again. This is going to be a top match, and this match is going to be a good match.
Well,
and Enchantress is going down because I'm going to win that title. Yeah,
and you know, and unfortunately, you know, I'd love to have the opportunity to talk to the Enchantress about that, but she seems to be currently unavailable, and I can understand why, considering what she's got going on going into Stomping Grounds, as it appears almost against La Familia as a whole, which is really similar to kind of what you're dealing with. So on that note, I'm going to kind of have you stand by for just a second, and then we'll bring you back on. I want to ask this question to Nightmare Jones, because if anybody knows about how La Familia operates and why these things happen, it's him. He's been El Mata's right-hand man for a long time. Now him and Marcus Mayhem seem to kind of be the two that are right there directly underneath El Mata, you know, kind of making things and it happen and pulling the strings for La Familia. Nightmare Jones, what do you say in the face of these things that Sister Hoss is saying? I mean, clearly she's earned every opportunity she's gotten. You've been extremely unfair in running an angle with her without consulting with her first. And now, as busy as she's kept and as hard as she's worked for her brand, now she's not even on the Stomping Grounds pay-per-view? I mean, please, Please educate us and give us some perspective as to how something like this happens, because as far as I can tell, it's nothing more than a bunch of La Familia BS.
Hey, but for one thing, the reason that the hardcore, the women's championship match isn't happening at Stomping Ground is because Marcus Mayhem wants Enchantress to be 100% when she faces Elmata. So that way, when Elmata beats Enchantress, she can't sit there and say that, oh, well, I lost because I had to face Hardcore Sis as well that night. No, he wants it so that when she loses, she can't blame anybody but herself. And the last thing I'm going to say, the whole thing about me and Hardcore Sis was, if she didn't want to do the angle, all she had to do was message me. At no point did she message me.
Oh, stop it.
Saying that she didn't
Stop it.
Angle.
I'm going to stop you right there, Nightmare Jones. I'm going to stop you right there.
But I'm done with it. She can keep her name Hardcore, the queen of Hardcore. It's totally cool. I'm going on to bigger, better things. So, Hardcore Sis, I wish you the best in your matches in the FWWC with Enchantress, and you don't know, maybe you'll win that women's championship again. Good luck.
Oh, shut up, Nightmare Jones. Nobody's buying it, because just simply you saying, if she didn't like what I was doing, she could have just hit me up. Well, how about you do the right thing and give Sister a little bit of heads up before you start running stuff like that? I mean, geez Louise, have a little bit of etiquette in the locker room, would you? Geez Louise, I mean, Jones, you act like you haven't done this 100 times whenever. Oh, it's just absolutely embarrassing that he allows himself to believe the crap that's coming out of his mouth. Susie Haas, you're back. What's on your mind? Will you stop?
I will say this right here.
What?
I would say this right here. It is totally my fault that I did not message her and talk to her about the angle. I totally agree. That was completely my bad. If I had messaged her and talked to her about it prior, maybe things would have gone differently. So for that, I definitely apologize. That is my bad. And all honestly, I love Hardcore Sis. She's like a sister of mine, and I don't want a angle to ruin our friendship. So, I am me and her are totally cool now, and in the real life basis, I definitely apologize for not messaging her first about the whole angle. Are you happy now?
Oh my gosh, it's like somebody paid you to say that. I don't know. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not buying a second or a word of anything that he's saying. But listen, it's really not up to me. It's up to our girl, Hardcore Sis. Hardcore Sis, you've heard what Nightmare Jones has to say. What are your thoughts before we let you go?
On a personal level, I trust him and believe him. But, on a character level, you are so full of it. And I just don't know what to say to you. But you know what? I wish you the best, Nightmare. And I hope that, you get almost everything that you want. Almost, but not everything. But I just, even though, like I said, I feel a little, aggravated that my match keeps getting put back, I can promise that, at this next pay-per-view, me and the Enchantress, we're going to burn this thing down, because this is a no-holds-barred match. And unfortunately for her, that favors Hardcore Sis. So she might as well shine that title up, because it's going to go home with me that night. And the only thing I can say is I'm just going to be watching to see how well she does against Elmata. And I'm not so sure she's not going to need the next month to recoup.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Hardcore Sis. And my understanding is that Nightmare Jones is back. You had one final thought on Hardcore Sis? Because I'm shocked so far. What do you got?
I do. I do have one more thing for Hardcore Sis. Man, what's going to happen if all of a sudden Marcus Mayhem changes his mind and there's no women's title match at the next pay-per-view?
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You say all those nice things, and then right at the end, you turn around and you take a cheap shot, Nightmare Jones. And truthfully, man, I'm sick and tired of you doing that to all of our callers. I mean, you just carry.
What's that say?
Did you?
I had.
Dude, did you just auto-tune baby me? Did you just auto-tune baby me, Nightmare Jones? You see, this is the crap I'm talking about. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. Oh, geez, Louise. You're so full of it. It makes my damn stomach turn. Well, listen, guys, we are just a few moments away from our second featured guest of the evening. You heard us talk about him right at the beginning of the show. And this gentleman has kept to his commitment despite all the challenges that he's been dealing with recently. I'm talking about one of the co-owners of Journey Pro Wrestling right here in Kansas City, man, one of the hottest professional wrestling promotions in the United States today. He's going to be joining us in just a matter of moments. We do have about a minute and a half left, and we have two callers left from the FWWC. So first, let's bring on a man who's been on hold basically from the beginning of the show, a man that's always dropping the good word. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Devontae D, the Bishop. Bishop, welcome back to the show.
Night Owl, you forgot to mention former Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, jeez Louise.
Oh, Nightmare Jones, you got jokes. I'll deal with you in a minute. But what I want to talk about, I won't hold up too much of your time. You see, Stomping Grounds is a partner, and I have a match against Funky Flex. Much like Pugsley just mentioned about the IC title.
Pugsley.
This past Monday night, me and that scrawny excuse for a champion had a knockdown, drag-out brawl, and I'm telling you, it's going to end at Stomping Grounds with me standing over him with the IC title once again. And Nightmare Jones, keep running your trap, and I'll bury my fist in it.
Woo! Nightmare Jones! You don't want no smoke, Nightmare Jones. The Bishop is not playing with you, bro. You better be careful. He's going to put some holy water on you, homie.
Just because you got lucky one time does not mean that you can beat Nightmare Jones. How many matches did we have, and how many matches did you win?
Oh, just enough of that, okay? Enough. He won enough of them. That's how many he won, okay? Well, listen, guys, we got one caller remaining on tonight's edition of the FWWC segment before we bring on DJ Stewart of Journey Pro Wrestling. I'm a little concerned. I've reinforced and provided a generator for the lights here in the studio, so hopefully the lights don't start going out as we welcome back into the show one of the most ominous men in the history of the FWWC. You know what? I'll just go ahead and him introduce himself because he does such a great job. Sir, you are on the line here on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. What's on your mind tonight? Wow. You see that's what happens when you try to let a man introduce himself. Let's try this once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. A man hailing from Crystal Lake, the one, the only, Voorhees. What? Why? Why? All right, well, you know what? I'm going to just say this. I, for one, am glad that Voorhees did not make it onto the show today because him and that machete, Jonesy, to be honest with you, I don't know how safe it is to have this dude running rampant through the FWWC. I guess as far as tonight goes, what?
You know, being the nice guy that I am, I think that next time I'm in a match with Voorhees, I'm gonna bring him some cough drops because he seems to have a really, really bad cough. Like his voice is like he always has a sore throat. So I'm gonna bring him some cough drops because I'm the nice guy that I am.
Nightmare Jones, can you hear me?
Unfortunately.
Don't make me come and get you.
Mr. Voorhees, we tried to bring you on a few minutes ago. We just heard a bunch of hacking noises, and I'm not really sure what that's all about, but you got about 30 seconds here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, episode 251. What's on your mind tonight, man?
The Inferno match was most terrorizing, and at the future pay-per-view, me and my tag partner, known as the Fallen Souls, will take those tag titles. So listen up, Heaven's Demons. Fallen Souls will run the FWWC in a terrorizing way.
Did you put me on hold?
No, dude, listen, I'm
How dare you?
I didn't do, listen, bro, I'm just sitting here trying to make sure that I don't get on the wrong side of Voorhees. I don't have the time to be muting you or anybody else. You need to talk to intern Timmy about that, bro. I'm just trying to make sure.
That's it. I'm talking. When this show is over, I am talking personally to El Mata, and I'm going to make sure that that never happens again, because you cannot put the man. Oh, how dare you, sir?
It wasn't me, man. Stop accusing me of stuff that I didn't do. If you got a problem with being muted during Voorhees, then maybe you need to go to Crystal Lake and talk to him about it. Okay? Stop accusing me, Jonesy. I'm not going to hear any more of it. Enough. Please, Louise. All right. Well, you know what? It's always a tough transition to move away from the wonderful people of the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter. But it is about that time because our next guest has been waiting for a couple of minutes now, and he's anxious and he's eager to come on and kind of tell his story. We've had him on the show a few times, but it's usually just for a few minutes to talk to us about an upcoming show. Now, we've got more than enough reasons to bring him on for a full-length interview to talk to him a little bit about his origins in professional wrestling and how he went from being a trainee to now being a co-owner of one of the hottest professional wrestling promotions in the country. And when I say that, Jonesy, I don't say it lightly. They've only had a handful of shows, and they've already had Joey Ryan, Shotzi Blackheart, Dak Draper, and many other well-recognized superstars on their show, including the Zombie Princess Jimmy Jacobs at their very last show. So, ladies and gentlemen, a man who's got a passion for pro wrestling that ties right in with the Wrestle Talk podcast, and also a man who is recently married and a man who is fighting the battle of his life versus cancer. DJ Stewart of Journey Pro Wrestling. Enter Timmy, hit the music.
Can't explain all the feelings that you're making me feel. My heart's in overdrive and you're behind the steering wheel. Touching you.
Woo! I want to hear you sing that song, Renee.
Nah, bro. Nah, the decent ratings we have would immediately go down the toilet if I started singing on the show. Trust me. Me posting a picture without a shirt on is more than enough to dissuade a lot of the listeners. But listen, I'm not trying to make it any worse. DJ, welcome to the show, man. How you feeling tonight, bro?
I'm doing all right, boys. How are you today?
Joe, how are you today? I'm good. We're good, bro. Absolutely. And listen, bro, you already know we have a little bit of a personal relationship, and I know that you've been going through some things, man. But speaking about the present, I'm doing great because there was a moment in time that I did not know if we would have this opportunity. And now that we're kind of on the other side of it, I'm very happy, bro. Not that life is perfect, but the fact that we have this opportunity makes me very excited. And Joe knows about your backstory as well, because we were talking before the show. So thank you for making time for us, bro. I know you're dealing and going through chemo. You just started your first round yesterday, I believe. And you being here today speaks to your resilience. So for those that aren't familiar with you, tell us a little bit about kind of how you ended up on the show today, like going all the way back to like when you decided to get involved with pro wrestling and kick off this amazing company with your partners, Walter and Gabe Miller.
Right. Yeah. Well, first off, I mean, thank you guys for having me. Always a pleasure to be on. Always down to support those that support me, support us at Journey, all of that. So thank you both. Really happy to be here. And yeah, man, I'm happy to kind of dive into it. You know, you and I briefly spoke, but I would say it all started, you know, when I was a wee little child. Fateful night, you know, one Monday, of course, as we all know.
Yes.
Channel surfing, came across wrestling.
Attitude Era, baby. I can already hear it coming.
What's that?
I said Attitude Era, baby. I can already hear it coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a '90s baby. I was born in the '90s, so that was my whole growing up. But yeah, man, one Monday night, I came across it. I think the first match I saw was during a Mankind feud with who would it have been? Maybe a Boss Man thing at that time. Something real random that never went too crazy, but you know, they're both big characters, big, loud presences, and up until that point, I'd basically just been into the things like comic books and superheroes and all that sort of thing. And pro wrestling kind of, you know, as a young kid, I saw it and I was like, oh, this is characters. This is more attainable. This is something like, these are people that live in the same universe that I do. You know, these are people that I know wake up the same way that I do, that sort of thing. And so I kind of got fascinated by that. And the athletic aspect of it just blew me away, what the guys were capable of. So, you know, for the longest time, I was just a fan, all throughout growing up, that sort of thing. I also, during that time, got into some other sports, eventually led me to competitive skateboarding. And I tried real hard to pursue that as a career. Took a couple pretty bad injuries that kind of put me on the shelf, but I needed something to be competitive at. You know, I've always had kind of a competitive drive. And when I had that taken away, I was like, well, why don't I just pursue another love that I have, and decided to, you know, give a shot to pro wrestling. And that happened to be around the time that the NWL was getting some hot traction in Kansas City. And so it all started with going to an up-down event, or actually going to a first show, Scottish Rite, and then digging what they had going on, seeing the boys that they had, the athletes, was unbelievable. And I was just like, yeah, no, I had to be a part of that. So I went to an up-down event one night, and I stumbled across a handsome man with a great haircut called Gabe Miller.
Yeah, that dude is a stud, yo. He's a stud. No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he doesn't hear that. I don't like to to build him up too often.
No, it's crazy. Hey, listen,
bigger than it is.
listen, no, and we don't want to blow his head up or nothing, but like when I think of Gabe Miller, there's only like one song that comes to mind. I'm gonna play it really quick.
Let's get up.
I am too sexy for my love. Too sexy for my love.
Let that ride. Let that ride. Hey. That's for you, Gabe Miller.
Man, I don't know how he does it.
Don't ever say no one put you over. We don't want to hear that shit. No, don't ever say no one ever put you over, Gabe Miller. All right, go ahead, DJ. Please continue with your story. Just thought that was appropriate.
No, man, yeah. But yeah, so Gabe and I, we hit it off real hard, and he introduced me to all the trainers at the NWLTPC at that point. And I had to try out, I want to say, a week later, and was graciously accepted into the training program there. Had a couple issues a few weeks in. I guess you could say I'm kind of injury prone, or I just don't know when to stop until I get hurt, I guess. So I got sidelined a bit from that, but obviously still stayed in contact, became really close with the guys on the roster, really close with Gabe. And then, as you know, everybody knows, there were some hardships in that organization, and they eventually shut the doors, which is a damn shame. They were all great people, and I'm so happy that I got to meet who I did, because that eventually, you know, opened up some doors to get us to do some really cool things. So when NWL closed the doors, I realized, like, man, you know, that there was so much traction being gained, and all these fans were so into it, and I was so into it. So many people were invested, and there was a spot, and people needed something. And at first I just knew, well, I want to be a part of whatever kind of comes next. I know that there's going to be something that comes next. So what can I do? And then it just kind of dawned on me, like, well, why can't I just do that? You know, what's stopping me? I've run some businesses before. I started a skate shop when I was 18. Did half okay at it. I mean, it paid the bills for a minute. So I had some experience, and I knew through kind of the grapevine and just being friends that my boy Gabe there also had the same intentions, the same attitude. Him and I are obviously super close at this point. And one day we have a quick conversation. I think we should do this thing together, but I need you to meet one other guy that I want to be involved in. And so that's when I met Walter, and instantly clicked with Walter. Me, him, and Gabe sat in Walter's house one day, just chopping it up for hours, and just realizing, you know, it was one of those moments when it's like, damn, we all want the same thing. We all want to bring something to Kansas City that people can attach themselves to, that people can be proud of. That's, you know, Kansas City's known for hometown pride and kind of all of their sports, right? We want to be that of here. You know, we want Kansas City to be a destination for wrestling in general. We want to raise the tide, and, you know, so that all boats can float, that sort of thing. So we instantly clicked, and we just started hammering out details, man. We were like, we're just doing this. We're just going to go for it. We were lucky enough to, again, have built some great relationships with people in the industry. People like Matt Jackson and the crew over at St. Louis Anarchy have been a huge asset. Can't thank those guys enough. And, you know, that's a quick catch up. And then we were just like, all right, boom, we're going to bring an Anarchy show to Kansas City, and people, they're going to flip off that. And then we're going to drop the bomb during that show. Like, we're bringing another brand to Kansas City. And that takes us basically up to here. You know, we've had a few shows since then. We're doing pretty damn good. I am very proud of where we're at. I'm very proud of where we're going. We got a lot of really cool things coming, man. So that kind of catches you up to present day, you know, 10,000 foot view.
No doubt. And what's crazy to me is that, you know, during that whole story, you're talking about yourself, but you're hardly talking about yourself. You're talking about the people that kind of help make it happen alongside you. And that, I think, speaks volumes about you and your character, which is why I was so intrigued to obviously have you on, because I know we've had several conversations. And I was like, wow, this dude is like a genuine dude. Because just from my experience being around a lot of different promotions, there are truly promoters and promotions out there that are just there for the sake of having an opportunity to put themselves over, so to speak, right, in wrestling terms. But what you guys are bringing over at Kansas Hall is different. It's fan engagement to the nth degree. I was privy enough to be at an Anarchy show well before Journey even started. And I remember having the thought when I saw, you know, some of my favorite wrestlers ever. I saw Michael Elgin versus Pentagon. I got to see ACH in the ring, who's one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. And I was like, man, and, you know, this is internet radio, so allow me, what the fuck? Like, why can't we have this in Kansas City? Like, why? And listen, I work as a commentator for KCXW, and they do great wrestling. But what Anarchy was offering was something unlike anything else in St. Louis. And it was definitely unlike anything we'd ever seen in Kansas City. And so I said, man, wouldn't it be great if at some point there was enough of a wave, like you alluded to earlier, right? The wave, you know, raised the tide for the other ships, that if we could ever get to a point where we could have a promotion like this, where I don't have to drive 3.5 hours. And you know me and my dedication to Wrestle Talk, DJ, I don't care. I've driven all over the place for pro wrestling, and I'm going to continue to do that no matter what I do in pro wrestling. But I was like, why can't we just have one at home? It's like my favorite fast food restaurant is Checkers. And guess what we don't have in Kansas City? We don't have a Checkers. We don't have a Rallies. And it pisses me off. And the only time I get to have it is when I go to Florida. And I'm like, why can't we get a Checkers in Kansas City? And Journey Pro is very much that. It's for the people who love the wrestling that Anarchy brought to the table, but in a more refined fashion. Because Kansas Hall, with all due respect, the Spalding Sporting Club is a great place, but Kansas Hall is something special, man. And the fact that you guys were able to secure that, I think is probably one of the most impressive things of all. Because I've learned just in my time in wrestling, dude, venue is everything. If you have the right place, if you build it, they will come, right? As the old saying goes, right? And you guys did that, dude. So I am curious. What was, I know that was the atmosphere you guys were trying to create, but what was it about Kansas Hall when you guys walked in there for the first time and you were like, this is the spot? Like, can you walk us through that maybe a little bit? Because I think that would be an intriguing side of the story to tell, because that's not something we usually hear about as fans. We don't hear about, hey, how did you get the venue? It's always about the storylines, the wrestlers, and everything else. So you mind sharing some of that with the listeners of the Wrestle Talk podcast, brother?
Yeah, man, absolutely. And that's one of the parts that, you know, that we're all the most proud of, is the environment that we've built. So I would say it all really started in that first day when we were all sitting around talking. We're just kicking around, you know, names of promotions that we really respect and we like what they do and what they bring to the table. And a couple that we kept coming back to were places like Bar Wrestling, you know, Joey Ryan, Eric Cannon's company, First Wrestling. Those guys have
Black Label,
an atmosphere. What's that?
Black Label Pro, another one.
Black Label, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, bro.
They have this atmosphere that the fans are rowdy. You know, they're into it in a different way because they're sort of in an environment where, yes, it's wrestling, but it's at an establishment that encourages you to have some fun, to yell, to really get into it. Now, that's not to say anything bad about, like you were saying, Spalding Hall has a hell of an environment, but we're a different brand than that. You know, we want people there to do a little more of the interactive thing, and that's, you know, I definitely want to get to that with our coming show, but we just want people to be involved, to feel close into the action, and to have a pride into it. So the second we walked into Kansas, for one, you look around and it just feels cool. You know, it feels different. It feels like there's the lights and the big fan that's just this crazy Mortal Kombat looking thing.
And the smoke, bro, the smoke. I love
cool.
the smoke. It's so awesome.
Yeah. The smoke, the stage, everything. And we knew that, you know, with our right touches, we could make this look awesome. We can make people want to come in and fill those seats and watch these guys pour it out there and be in an environment that got them rowdy, you know. And not only that, but man, if you've experienced it, Kansas Hall not only is a beautiful venue with things like beautiful bathrooms, which you ain't gonna find at most wrestling shows.
Facts.
But it's also got great service. It's got great prices, everything. And those were all really important things to us because we know that we run on a Thursday night and we want people to come to our shows and feel like they got the value out of it. You know, that they spent their hard-earned money, but they got every penny's worth of it. And that is our goal. And Kansas just checked those boxes. And shouts out to the crew over there, man. I can't say enough things about the crew at Kansas Hall. We're so lucky to be in partnership with them and working with them so closely.
No doubt, man. I couldn't be happier because you're about 10, 12 minutes from my place. So my wife thanks you because I just one less trip to say, look, I know you can relate. And I want to ask.
You out on those late nights.
Yeah, dude, no doubt. I've done the trip, driven out there and driven back in the same day. And trust me, that's not something I would wish on my own enemy. But listen, I'm not here all by myself. We do have some representation out on the East Coast. My co-host is a well-known and respected referee out in the Eastern Panhandle. Nightmare, why don't you jump on in here with our buddy DJ, man? I know that from afar, just from what you've been able to see, on indie wrestling, Journey is killing it, bro. And some of your favorite wrestlers are wrestling for them, even though they're only on their third or fourth show, which is something that is kind of unprecedented, right? I mean, you don't usually get names like that when you're first starting out. It usually takes some time, you build some momentum, but they're doing it. And I know that even from out in the Baltimore, Maryland, West Virginia, area, you're still kind of like impressed by what they're doing. And I want to give you an opportunity to jump on in here with any thoughts or questions you might have for DJ.
Hell yeah, man. What's up,
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Unfortunately, I have not been able to go to a Johnny Pro show because I'm all the way in West Virginia. But Renee is constantly talking about Johnny Pro, and what I wanted to know, and maybe you've already answered this, but as a wrestling fan that has not been able to go see Johnny Pro, what does Johnny Pro have to offer that the other wrestling promotions in your guys' area doesn't offer?
You know, man, that's a damn good question. I don't ever want to disparage anyone. I don't want to ever say anything bad about anyone involved really in pro wrestling. I want pro wrestling as a whole to succeed.
Amen.
So I don't want to say necessarily you're going to find a different environment. You know, everywhere else around here has great athletes. You're going to find that in pro wrestling in general. You can't be in pro wrestling for the most part if you're not a good athlete. We offer a slightly different environment. We run a 21 and up venue. So you're going to go there and you're going to see maybe a little more on the violence. You might see a little more on the language. You might see some wildness where people are dick flipping off of a bar.
I saw that. That was amazing. Shout out to Joey Ryan. That was incredible.
Shout out to Joey Ryan. So it's just not anything better. It's just a different environment, man. It's an interactive thing. We're going to really be pushing interactive moving forward. And I think that's something you're not going to really find anywhere else. We want the fans to really not only feel like they can be close to it, but feel like they're a part of it.
Absolutely. A very, 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 very nice answer. I guess that my second question is something I'm sure that you've heard multiple times as having a show that's a 21 and over. Do you feel that that's kind of hurt your ticket sales? Like, do you think that you would have more ticket sales if it was wasn't 21 and over, or are you all perfectly happy with the ticket sales that you all been getting?
Hey, that's a great question, Joe.
I'll say a little bit of both. I'll say this. Journey Pros, every show that Journey Pro runs will not be 21 and up. Now, vast majority of them will, I think. We're still, very early on in this, but we want to bring the families into it too. We want to run a venue as well that can also support bringing the kids in, that sort of thing. And maybe we tailor that show a little differently because we want it to be involved in everything. But, I mean, Renee's been there. You can see it on IWTV. Use promo code Journey. We're packing the house pretty well, man. I'm really happy with ticket sales. On a Thursday night, being a 21 and up venue, people really responded well to what we're doing. And I can't thank anyone that has come out to our shows enough for that. 3 dudes that really didn't, honestly, if I'm being real with you, didn't know what we're doing, still don't, still just flying by the seat of our pants every day and just wanting to put out the best thing we can. That is, the most, I can't even put into words how grateful I am for it. So the answer is both. I'm very happy with ticket sales, but I want to have kids there too. I want families to be able to come out and have a good time because that was one of the things that, I loved about the NWL too. So we want to run both. But I think, Thursday nights at Kansas Hall is going to be a staple in Journey Pro for a long time. And that is going to remain 21 and up.